It's the system, however ridiculous it may sound, the world communist system or the world communist conspiracy. Whether I scare some people or not, I don't give a hoot. If you are not scared by now, nothing can scare you. But you don't have to be paranoid about it. What actually happens now, that unlike myself, you have literally several years to live on unless the United States wake up. The time bomb is ticking. With every second, the disaster is coming closer and closer. Unlike myself, you will have nowhere to defect to, unless you want to live in Antarctica with penguins. This is it. This is the last country of freedom and possibility.
Okay.
They're here. Target spotted. Moving in. Not today.
Stop! FBI!
Adapt and predict.
It's the beauty of prime sequences. They just keep you humble.
Knock, knock. Come in.
Curious? Yeah. I'm Officer Ramos. You're under arrest for being too smart.
For what now?
You rerouted every light in the city.
Yeah.
You're under arrest for excessive intelligence. Step away from the mic.
Wait, what? That's
it is
not
when
a thing?
everyone in the comments can't keep up.
Almost there. Here you go.
Home Sweet Studio.
Mic check. And we're live. I told you nothing could keep me off this mic.
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed.
So what do you do?
So this is the guy that I've been talking about, Yuri Bezmenov. Okay, he was born in the Soviet Union. All right, he came over here. Well, here's his story. Basically, he's going to tell you about these 4 steps. Okay, these 4 steps that just rips a country, just takes over a country.
The slow process, which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages.
And it's happened here. You might have heard of this guy. A lot of people heard of him. I'm just telling you what you already heard already. But I'm going to break it down in different steps that no one else did before. Okay? I'm going to show you how the steps. Every time he talks about a step, I'm going to tell you how it's happened here, right? So, anyway, Yuri Bezmenov, his father was a high-ranking Soviet officer, okay? He died, the father. But Bezmenov became a KGB journalist, okay? He was taught how to, basically, which is a spy. All right. He was taught how to do spy games, things like that. He was sent to work in India. All right. He came back to Moscow to work for the Novost press agency. Okay. And he said that 3/4 of the agency was KGB. All right. That's important. All right. And they played propaganda on the media, mostly foreign media, but even in their own country, it was all propaganda from the KGB, him being a journalist, all right? And that's important because if you look at our media, where do you, for example, like Anderson Cooper on CNN, he was an intern for the CIA before he started his journalism career. You could say, all right, no big deal. Why did he work? Why would CNN choose CIA interns? All right, you don't want people that do that stuff. You want people that come out of school to go against stuff like that. You want to look into the CIA, go after the CIA. That's what journalism is. Like what Nick Shirley's doing. That's true journalism. Go after these people. You get people that are interns for the CIA. All right. So, and that's, you think that's not going on, but that is. Why would you do that? All right. There's just something called Operation Mockingbird. It's from the Church Committee. It was a congressional investigation back in 1975. In the 40s and the 50s, CIA, Frank Wisner, called it his mighty Wurlitzer, suggesting the agency's ability to play public opinion like an organ. Huh. Okay? And in 1975, the Church Committee, Frank Church was his name, it was a congressional investigation. And George H.W. Bush, basically, he said, okay, what we'll do is we won't pay journalists anymore. We will stop it. That's how they answered the American people. What we'll do is, he didn't say this, but we won't pay them anymore. We'll just make sure we get people that intern from the CIA to go into our media now. All right? I mean, but that's what happens. That's what the useful idiots. That's what we're going to talk about, useful idiots. Here's a clip from Yuri Bezmenov talking about what a useful idiot is.
The useful idiots, the leftists who are idealistically believing in the beauty of Soviet socialist or communist or whatever system, when they get disillusioned, they become the worst enemies.
All right, so about useful idiots.
Thank you very much for your support.
Oh, oh my gosh. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much, really.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's a pleasure.
See you again. Thank you, guys.
We need to stand with Ukraine! They are our allies. Russia is our enemy.
It's how we're all being used for something. And notice he said you'll become your own worst enemy. Okay? For example, they fought, the feminists fought for their rights to, they had their own sports divisions, right? And then they went and were useful idiots for these politicians that were thanking those people there, right? Thank you for doing the Ukraine for us. They went and fought with the transgenders, right?
I'm here to show you how you can be an ally of the trans community in day-to-day life and when things get tough, so that you're on the right side of history.
And then now, look what happens.
It's going to be a race for second place. It might be Penn going 1-2 with Baroker making the turn currently in second place. And over the last half of the pool, nobody will touch Leah Thomas, who will finish at 4:37.32. Leah Thomas, Ivy League champion in the 500 free.
I mean, you literally fight for your own thing, right? You get it. Then you go ahead and help some other cause. And then that cause bites you in the ass. I mean, just an example of what he's talking about, okay? Now you have step one, demoralization.
The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them they are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of United States society.
Now, what he means, I guess, by that is, what's happening here today is everything's demoralized. You're demoralized about this country. Nobody likes it. You're told everything, and it's on autopilot now. Okay, you can't stop it. You need to. It's on autopilot because he's saying it's like in the professors, right? It's in their brains already, and it's going to another generation. No, nothing has to be spread anymore. It's already in their brains. They're spreading it to the next people. All right, so we can't come together and be one patriotic country now. It's too late. It's over. I mean, it might not be. People just wake up and learning how to. Just forget it. It's a poison. It's not good. We're all one nation together, and you just learn about this stuff, how stuff is bad. And here's this professor telling you about it.
We posit that there is a whiteness pandemic behind the racism pandemic, and that this begins in the family system where young children are socialized into the culture of whiteness within white families. Our first recommendation is to remember that the whiteness pandemic is a pandemic. If you were born and raised in the United States, especially in a white family, then you've been raised in the pandemic, and you can play a role in halting and reversing this pandemic. We have two specific recommendations to that end. The first is for white parents to invest time in their own racial identity development through joining an organization like Showing Up for Racial Justice or your local BLM chapter.
All right. And now step 2 is destabilization. All right.
The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast.
You got kids with issues, right? You got people, got problems in cities, crackheads, junkies all over the place. Food and meds, foods with all crap in it, meds, stabilization. That's what he's talking about. It can't be fixed. You try to, but look, you got RFK do something, and what happens? The opposition comes, fights it, and people listen to that and become useful idiots, and now they hate RFK. They used to like him, now they hate him. That's part of the plan. That's the destabilization. Here's a thing about that.
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry. And protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, In 2020, you were the single largest
Because I had
receiver of
small
pharmaceutical money.
contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
You were the
missed
single-
not a nickel from corporate
Bernie,
tax.
you were the single largest acceptor of
workers-
pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in the industry.
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but
All right. And now you got step 3 and step 4, crisis and normalization, where this is normalized, where this is all normal to do this stuff.
The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. He will go to Moscow to kiss the bottoms of new generation of Soviet assassins. Never mind. He will create false illusions that the situation is under control. Situation is not under control. Situation is disgustingly out of control. Most of the American politicians, media, and educational system trains another generation of people who think they are living at a peacetime. False. United States is in the state of war, undeclared total war against the basic principles and the foundations of this system.
All this stuff that's going on, this is normal. To go ahead, Bernie Sanders going against RFK. Yeah, this is normal. Wait a second. This isn't normal. It's not normal for a guy who's going against RFK, who happens to get $1.5 million from pharmaceutical companies that RFK's is kind of against, and you put the guy who's getting $1.5 million to go ahead and argue against him about for the pharmaceutical companies, but he just got paid $1.5 million from the pharmaceutical companies, and that's the guy you choose to argue against him with. And people are like, yeah, right. They're agreeing with Bernie Sanders. It's a conflict of interest. It doesn't make any sense, but that's normal. Okay, that's normalization right there. Okay, so this is whatever. These are the four. This is ideological subversion, or it could be called active measures or psychological warfare. We're in the middle of it. It's confusion. Okay. First step is demoralization, destabilization, crisis, and then normalization. And I'll end it with this. This guy, before he died in 93, heart attack, but he had he used to teach this class in public speaking, and this was probably a really cool thing with him before he passed.
That civilizations like Mohenjo-Daro in the river Indus area, like Egypt, like Maya, Incas, like Babylonian culture, collapsed and disappeared from the surface of Earth. The moment they lost religion, as simple as that, they disintegrated. Nobody remembers about them anymore. Well, distantly. So, the ideas are moving society and keeping mankind as society of human beings, intelligent, moral agents of God. The facts, the truth, the exact knowledge may not. All the sophisticated technology and computers will not prevent society from disintegrating and eventually dying out. Have you ever met a person who would sacrifice his life, freedom, for the truth like that? This is truth. I never met a person who said, this is truth and I'm ready to shoot me. To defend the truth. Right? But millions sacrifice their life, freedom, comfort, everything for things like God, like Jesus Christ. It's an honor. Some martyrs in the Soviet concentration camp died. And they died in peace, unlike those who shouted, "Long live Stalin," knowing perfectly well that he may not live long. Something which is not material moves society and helps it to survive. And the other way around. The moment we turn into 2 by 2 is 4 and make it a guiding principle of our life, our existence, we die. Even though this is true, and this we cannot prove. We only can feel and have faith in it.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment on anything you like or didn't like.